The Yankees take game one, game three, and the first round of the Subway Series over the Mets. MLB game night, every game, every night, is now underway.
When that final out is made, you know it's time for Locked On MLB Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. Prepare to experience game day reactions like never before. Only on Locked On MLB Game Night. Your team every day.
He is John Frisch, host of the Locked On Angels podcast, along with his brother Mike. Follow at Super Halo Bros. I'm Steve Lenox, host of the Locked On Red Sox podcast. You can follow me at Lenox on Baseball. We're going to get right into it. 7 different teams, including John's Angels, completing series sweeps on Sunday. The Twins win streak ends at 13. We're going to hit all of Major League Baseball action from around the ballparks on Sunday. We're just a week away from Memorial Day weekend now. Here we go as we take you around the major leagues. This latest episode of MLB Game Night presented by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. John, let's get into this. Yankees do take the series finale. And some shoddy defense. We're going to hear from Stacy of Locked On Yankees in just a moment. But this was a 2-2 game until it wasn't in the bottom of the 8th inning.
Yeah, an explosion of offense from the Yankees, and certainly something that they needed considering how tight these ball games were all weekend long between these two New York teams.
On the other side of Stacy, we're going to touch on Aaron Judge and Juan Soto not really doing a whole heck of a lot. I think you can call it underwhelming. But we hear from Stacy, Locked On Yankees, on the Yankees taking advantage of some shoddy defense by the Mets, and then Cody Bellinger breaking it open with one big swing of the bat.
After dropping an annoying game on Saturday in which they couldn't score late, the Yankees were trying not to do the same thing on Sunday night because everything seemed familiar on Sunday night, didn't it? I'm Stacey Gotsoulias of Locked On Yankees, and yeah, the game was tied 2-2 late because this series basically showcased strong pitching on both sides. And Sunday night was no exception between Max Fried and David Peterson. In fact, Max Fried gave up 3 hits to the Mets, and the Yankees bullpen, the guys who followed him, did not give up any hits. Kind of amazing. But the Yankees blew up for 6 runs in the 8th inning to pull away and win the finale of the Subway Series. The big blow, Cody Bellinger's grand slam. Cody Bellinger batting a respectable .258. Considering what he looked like in April, that is really, really good. So we will talk about that on the next Locked On Yankees. Plus, previewing Texas, because they're coming to town.
Cody Bellinger, 9th career grand slam, capped that big 6-run 8th inning for the Yankees. They win at 8-2 in the finale. Max Fried, who Stacy mentioned right there, John, did not pick up a no decision, but the Yankees are now 9-1 in his first 10 starts of the season. He is 6-0 with a 1.29 ERA. The no decision that he took Sunday, his 3rd in a row, but the Yankees will certainly take 9 wins in his first 10 starts.
Yeah, that's what you paid him for, and he's delivering on exactly everything that he was supposed to be coming from Atlanta to New York. So they're getting everything that they wanted out of Max Fried, especially when you're down, Garrett Cole, he's out for the season. And so it's not the rotation that they expected. However, Max Fried is certainly lifting up that starting rotation for the Yankees.
Juan Soto, John, 0 for 4, 2 strikeouts in the finale, 1 for 10, 4 walks, 3 strikeouts in the 3 games. Again, the Mets dropped 2 of 3 in the Bronx against the Yankees. He heard a lot of boos, but Soto and Judge really not the big-time performers we were hoping for in this series.
Yeah, exactly. And, you got to wonder if it's a matter of nerves for Soto coming back to the Bronx. And, there's a lot of emotions from Yankee fans, of course, but he's only there 1 year, Steve. And it was not even as if he, signed a long-term deal with them when he came over. He was traded from the Padres. It was a great move. It was something that they should have done. It got them to the World Series. But, for 1 year, it feels like a lot of emotions for 1 year and him not returning. Maybe it's the bitterness that he went to the other New York team.
And heard it a lot over the weekend with Juan Soto going from the Yankees to the Mets in the offseason via free agency with the big contract. The Yankees quickly pivoted, and that did turn in to Max Fried. All good things do come to an end. And with that, the Twins' 13-game win streak coming to an end in Milwaukee on Sunday, John. Milwaukee able to avoid the 3-game series sweep, but the Twins' win streak coming to an end. Sam Frelick, RBI single in the second. That snapped a streak of 34 straight scoreless innings for the Twins pitching staff. Both numbers impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. And Sal Frelick, he's a pest, man. I've seen him when the Brewers have come to town against the Angels, and that's a pesky player right there. And when you have a pesky player like Sal Frelick, he's going to get it done at the plate and also in the outfield as well.
Freddie Peralta picked up the win, 5th on the season. He went 5, gave up 1 earned run. Brewers Jackson Chourio, 0 for 4 2Ks Sunday, 0 for 12, 7 strikeouts in the series against Minnesota. Easy to say, Captain Obvious moment for me. Easy to say, that's a bad Jackson Chourio. They've got to get him going consistently here.
They got to get him going, but you know what? If he's not going to do it at the plate, at least he did it in the outfield, robbing Lewis of a home run in the 8th inning. That would have tied the game. So if you're having a bad day at the plate, at least you can have a spectacular play in the outfield for Chourio.
4-game series wrapping up in Arlington, Texas. Astros and Rangers on Sunday. Astros trailed 3-0 going to the 7th inning. They got 1 in the 7th on a home run, 3 in the 8th inning, win it 4-3. One with only 4 total hits, including, Jack Leiter losing a no-hit bid in the 7th inning. We get the Astros side of this one from Brett, H-Town Wheelhouse, with reaction.
Well, the Houston Astros split a 4-game set in Arlington after almost getting no hit by Jack Leiter and the Texas Rangers. Hello, I'm H-Town Wheelhouse here with Locked on Astros. That was a phenomenal game. The Houston Astros needed some 2-out magic, as they've been having a lot lately. They've been getting a lot of hits and runs with 2 outs. And what did they do today? They did that. Now, Yainer Diaz broke up the no-hitter with a home run to right center field. And then late in the game, the Astros put up 4 runs in the 8th and 9th inning, respectively. And Isaac Paredes, who walked off for the Astros for the first time in his career in Houston, he comes to Arlington and does this. Not necessarily a walk-off, but the 3-run shot put them up 4-3. Framber Valdez gets his 3rd win, and it looks phenomenal on the mound. 8 strikeouts today. You got to love what he did because he's been very up and down. He's been very more up than down lately, but the offense did just enough today as they collected 4 hits and scored 4 runs. Stay tuned in to Locked on Astros, where your team every day. Go Stros.
Sometimes just enough works, and we'll see how they go moving forward. But this was a fun series. Again, 2-2. Astros win 2. DeGrom got the win Thursday as they won 1-0, and that was a 6th straight win for the Rangers. But overall, this was a great series between the Astros and Rangers. I think it lived up to its billing.
Yeah, and we've seen Brett talk about how much the Astros have needed offense over the last few weeks, especially being down Yordan Alvarez. So seeing guys like Isaac Paredes step up is huge for them because, your offense has to come from somewhere, especially when, you let Kyle Tucker, you send him to the Cubbies, you're down Yordan Alvarez. So seeing their replacement, so to speak, in Kyle Tucker and Isaac Paredes doing what he did on Sunday, that's got to be a good feeling if you're a Houston fan.
I love those 1-0 games. We had a couple on Sunday, including the Phillies blanking the Pirates 1-0. How about Mick Abel making his Major League debut, getting the better of Paul Skeens, who actually gets credited with his first career Major League complete game. Connor Thomas, absolutely gaga. Connor covers the Phillies, Locked on Phillies. He was gaga over Abel in his big league debut and what he was able to do.
What more do you say than hell of a debut for Mick Abel? I'm Connor Thomas, your host of Locked on Phillies. I don't even want to talk about anything else in this video. I definitely don't want to talk about the Jose Alvarado situation. We will talk about that on tomorrow's episode. But the Phillies sweep the Pirates. They shut them out today in the series finale. And Mick Abel in his debut. 6 innings, 9 Ks, no walks, no runs. He was unbelievable. His stuff looked great. His poise looked great. You could see why he's a former first-round pick, but Andrew Painter's supposed to be the guy down in the minors, and Mick Abel's kind of this forgotten-about strong pitcher. I don't think he's going to be that at the Major League level, and I hate to say that on a day where we should be celebrating him, and we are, but today he was unbelievable. He outduels Paul Skeens. He's got to feel on top of the world right now. Phillies fans, applaud Mick Abel. He deserves it for today. We'll talk on the next episode of Locked on Phillies.
And John, Paul Skeens gave up just 1 run on 3 hits, walked 1, struck out 9. The only run coming in on a fielder's choice ground out off the bat of Brandon Marsh, that in the 5th inning. And as Connor said, a sweep against the Pirates, almost needed. Once you take the first 2, you've got to lock that down. Philly's one of 7 teams to do just that, bringing out the Bruins on Sunday.
Yeah, exactly. When you get those first 2, you think, all right, it's a series win, but you get a little greedy on that third day. And you know what? Good for the Phillies to able to close out that sweep on Sunday afternoon.
Jackson Churio, I mentioned him with the Brewers having a tough weekend at the plate. O'Neal Cruz, John, on Sunday, 0 for 4, 4 strikeouts, 0 for 9 in the series, 8 strikeouts total. Put the ball in play.
Yeah, and you got to wonder, coming back from the IL and coming back from, being injured, if he's just going to need a little bit more time. And, he gets it done on the base paths when he gets on, with all the stolen bags and everything he can do in center field. But, maybe he just needs a little bit more time at the plate.
We are talking sweeps on our latest edition of MLB Game Night, every game, every night. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Angels sweep against the Dodgers in Los Angeles. This is MLB Game Night. Happy to have you on board. We are presented by Wonderful Pistachios. Looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Well, crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios, one of the highest protein nuts, each 1 ounce serving, featuring 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they are packed with fiber and the better-for-you unsaturated fats to keep you feeling fuller longer. New to Wonderful Pistachios? Well, welcome aboard. You're going to learn to love the no-shell variety. It's the perfect grab-and-go snack for busy days, whether you're snacking at your desk, on a road trip, or you just need that quick protein boost. They are going to become a game changer for you and a go-to for you as well. And if you love the cracking open of the every shell variety, well, that satisfying crunch is certainly there with the in-shell options that are a classic favorite. Wonderful Pistachios, a complete protein providing all 9 essential amino acids. These little green wonders pack a protein punch. Whether you're running between meetings, dropping off the kids, Wonderful Pistachios, the snack that works as hard as you do. Get cracking, get snacking, and get cracking with a snack that packs a protein punch. For more information, visit wonderfulpistachios.com.
Continuing our look around the league, we're going to take it to the real Los Angeles, not the Los Angeles of Anaheim. None of that nonsense. The Angels and the Dodgers met in LA as they finished their 3-game set. Steve, I think I might need to hear an apology, considering what you said on Friday about the Dodgers were going to pour it on my Halos on Friday, but that's not how this one went down, was it?
Is that how I said it?
They were going to put on 20 runs.
I was just saying, beware, because we've seen the Dodgers do it.
They just did it this week against the A's, so you're right.
Yeah,
and look, coming into this weekend, I had no expectations for how this one was going to go, but of course,
I'm ecstatic, and I'll apologize.
I'm
ecstatic that this pulled off a sweep. This is outstanding.
I just had to badger you a little bit because we like to have fun here on game night. Hey, but let's take it to Vince because he's talking about Tony Gonsolin's gutsy performance despite a first inning injury, sort of. Let's take it to Vince from Locked On Dodgers.
Tony Gonsolin's thumb on Sunday is a little bit like the Dodgers pitching staff at the moment. A little bloody, beat up, and not very effective. The Dodgers got swept by the Angels with the loss on Sunday. This is Vince from Locked On Dodgers. And yeah, the Dodgers gave up 23 runs over the weekend. That seemed like nobody was really that good at pitching this weekend or very effective. The Angels were able to kind of get runs whenever they needed. The Dodgers offense put up a lot of runs this weekend as well, but it just wasn't enough because it's hard to put up that many runs and continue to put up that many runs. So, I don't know. Frustrating weekend for sure. The pitching staff loses another one in Kirby Yates before the game. Tony Gonsolin, we're not sure how his thumb's going to recover. There's a lot to get into and a lot to talk about, and that's what we're going to do later on Locked On Dodgers, wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube.
And I got to give it up for Tony Gonsolin because he was bleeding from that thumb in the first inning because of, throwing the splitter. And I kind of had a feeling, Steve, that if the Angels could get through each starter that the Dodgers threw at them, if they got to the bullpen, this bullpen is beat up. The whole pitching staff is beat up. And so, there was a hope there that if the Angels could get to the bullpen, that they could come through. And that's exactly what happened. And of course, Zach Neto is a name you need to know if you're not following the Angels closely. Because he is quickly turning into a 5-tool player. He hit his 3rd leadoff home run of the season. Taylor Ward seems to have found it again. He hit his 12th home run of the year. He's got 25 RBI on the season. But that's really the key here was Gonsolin couldn't throw the splitter, and so the Angels just sat fastball, and that's how they were able to do their damage. Back and forth game, give it up for Travis d'Arnaud getting the go-ahead home run, and then the Angels get a little insurance later on in the game, win this one 6-4, sweep the Dodgers for the first time since 2010, when the Angels used to be good and the Dodgers were bad, and now those roles are reversed 15 years later.
So many storylines in this one. I mean, Kershaw, you mentioned their starters not going long. He makes his season debut on Saturday, gives up 5 earned runs. Ohtani went 0 for 6. You must have been giddy about that on Saturday. Comes back on Sunday with the 3 hits and a run batted in. But again, the series sweep, and you mentioned Neto. I mean, the Angels, for some reason, are trusting of guys, drafting them, and getting them to the big leagues early. Now, Neto and a lot of the other guys have taken their lumps, but they're learning at the big league level. And now this is a big series because they've proven they can win a big series against a top-tier team.
I hope that this is the turning point. We joked about how, oh, great, they're going to sweep the Dodgers and then they'll fall over and roll over and die for the A's. So they have to stay consistent. And if this is the beginning of that consistency and they do well against the A's in this upcoming 4-game set on Monday, then maybe this is a turning point for the Halos.
Cubs able to complete the series sweep, talking about a team that wants to turn the corner, but not there yet. The White Sox now 14-33 overall, 5-21 on the road, 6-2 the final at Wrigley on Sunday, as the Cubs are now 9 games over 500. Let's hear from Sam Olber. Right now, the Cubs simply dominating the other side, similar to what you said with the Angels and Dodgers from a decade ago to present day. Sam?
For the first time since 2009, the Chicago Cubs lead the all-time series with the Chicago White Sox as the Cubs swept the Southsiders on Sunday. I'm Sam Olber from Locked On Cubs, and finally, the Sunday curse is broken. The series finale curse is broken, not being able to sweep teams. We finally fix all that with a nice sweep 6-2 final score on Sunday. And again, I could go through all these different parts of the game and keys to the game, but this whole weekend, this whole homestand felt like one theme: business. Take care of business against bad teams. 5-1 homestand. That's what good teams do. There were some really good performances. There were some not so good performances. But this homestand, this weekend and Sunday, really summarized, it was just about a really good team taking care of business against a bad team. And the Cubs will look to continue to do that as they go to Miami and then Cincinnati this week, although Cincinnati, of course, isn't a bad team. But great job by the Cubs today. And I'll tell you, this Pete Crow Armstrong, he might be pretty good.
He might be pretty good indeed. And as Sam said there, John, taking care of business. The Phillies did it against the Pirates, and the Cubs do it and beat up on the team from the other side of Chicago.
Yeah, you don't want to have any room for error against these teams that are under 500, especially when you have playoff hopes. And for the Cubbies, being at the top of the NL Central, you've got to take it to teams like the White Sox who, are, like you said, are hoping to turn a corner. But now's not the time, especially if you're the Cubbies. You don't want them to turn the corner on you.
Reds pull off a sweep at home against the Guardians, win the finale Sunday 3-1. Our guy Jeff at the ballpark Sunday. Jeff, of course, one of our hosts as well with MLB Game Night. And Jeff right now, John, still crushing on that guy Will Benson. And why not?
Will Benson. Really, that's all I need to say. But the Cincinnati Reds, by the way, they swept the Cleveland Guardians. The geographical location of Cleveland, I don't care about. What's up? This is Jeff Carr from the Locked On Reds podcast. And yes, the Cincinnati Reds, who just lost 2 out of 3 to the Chicago White Sox, swept their division rivals in the Cleveland Guardians. And the Ohio Cup is now within reach for like the first time in what feels like forever. And it's all because of Will Benson. 4 straight days with a homer, 2 home runs on Sunday afternoon. Yes, the game was well pitched, but the runs came off the bat of Will Benson. Amazing to see his renaissance after he was caught up here recently. Hopefully he can continue it because there's so much opportunity in this Reds outfield. And now the Reds head to Pittsburgh. We'll have more on the next Locked On Reds.
Guardians have now dropped 4 in a row, 6 of 8, but back to the Reds, John. Twins, 13-game win streak coming to an end Sunday. The longest active win streak in baseball right now belongs to Jeff's Reds.
Wow.
They've won 4 in a row.
Hey, there you go. Isn't it a good feeling when you subscribe to a player and you believe in them from the minors to the majors? And that's what Jeff is, he's reaping the benefits right now of just his faith in Will Benson. So good on Jeff for sticking with his guy, and Will Benson for affirming Jeff's belief in him.
The A's scored 3 runs. 3 runs in the entire series over the weekend against Giants pitching. A's now 2-9 over their last 11. Finale goes to San Francisco on Sunday, 3-2 the final. Boney's not going to be happy, and his issue right now is with the Athletics bullpen, and for good reason.
Despite 12 2/3 of one-run ball from our starting pitching the last 2 days, the A's were not able to get a win, culminating in a 3-2 win for the Giants, completing a series sweep in San Francisco. This is Booney from Locked On A's, and Jeffrey Springs was brilliant. After Elliot Ramos led off the game with a home run, Springs went on to retire the next 20 in a row. Unfortunately, an Achilles heel of the A's this year has been the bullpen, and the Giants got to Tyler Ferguson in the 8th, scoring 2, sending the A's to their 5th loss in a row. Great thing about baseball is that there is always tomorrow, but today does suck. It's over. Flush it. New season starts tomorrow. A's are fine. We will get it going. Can of corn, baby. Can of corn.
Love it. Again, A's dropping 9 of 11. Ramos led off the game, as Booney said there, with the home run. Also had an RBI single in the 8th to make it 3-2. Justin Verlander in the start for the Giants, 4 innings. Bullpen the rest of the way. 4 relievers combining for 5 scoreless. That gets a job done on the other side of the bay.
Yeah, was Elliot Ramos the player of rivalry weekend this weekend? Because, man, he did everything in this series. He was incredible this weekend.
All right. Let's get to the Braves and Red Sox. Braves take the finale at Fenway on Sunday. 10-4 the final. They take 2 out of 3 in the series. 10 runs, 16 hits on Sunday. Rafael Devers hits a grand slam in the 3rd, puts the Red Sox up 4-3. Wouldn't you know it, Brian Bayo, who didn't make it out of the 5th inning, gave up a run in the top of the 4th inning after the Devers grand slam. By the way, it's been well over 635 days between grand slams. Red Sox had 8 in 2023. 0 in 2024.
Wow.
The balloon just popped with Brian Bayo on the mound. 3rd straight start where he does not get out of the 5th inning. Credit to the Braves. Their offense is coming around. Their pitching is right there. And they're going to, welcome back Spencer Strider and Ronald Acuna Jr. in the coming days.
Yeah, when you've got the big 3, Riley, Olsen, Ozuna, putting numbers on the board, they're starting to turn their corner as we continue that theme of turning a corner. And with Acuna Jr. coming back, the Braves might just be firing on all cylinders once they get him back there.
All right, we're going to push Tigers and Blue Jays to our 3rd segment. Mariners also able to pull off a series sweep against the Padres at Petco. Ty Dane Gonzalez on the M's, beating up and beating another ace. They've done that a lot of late.
Today's show is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. The NBA playoffs are in full swing every night, delivering highlight-worthy performances, momentum shifts, can't-miss moments. I know some watchers out there, your favorite team might not be in the playoffs anymore, but it doesn't mean you have to quit on the NBA playoffs, because whether it's a game-winning shot, a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on all the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live during the game with player props, performance trends, same-game parlays. Fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. If you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com, place your first $5 bet. If it wins, you'll get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA.
All right, let's gloss over and just, I don't want to excuse them, but the Tigers able to pull off 2 out of 3 in Toronto against the Blue Jays. Spencer Twerkelson, 3 RBIs, 2-run double in the 1st, 2-out run scoring single in the 7th inning to break the 2-2 tie. Jackson Jobe, now 4-0 on the season, went 6 innings, gave up 2 earned runs. The Tigers are now 8-0 in Jobe's first 8 big league starts. Tigers now 13-4 over their last 17. Jose Barrios on the other side, no decision for the Blue Jays. They've dropped 3 of 4 and are 2 games under 500. The Mariners sweeping a series at Petco Park. The Padres held a 3 runs total for the entire series against Mariners pitching. Ty Day Gonzalez, Ty Dane, Locked On Mariners on the M's again, having success against another top pitcher from around baseball.
Continued a really fun and really underrated trend for them this year as they get the sweep down in San Diego. This is Ty Dane Gonzalez, host of the Locked On Mariners podcast here. Mariners break out the brooms against one of the best clubs in baseball. 6-1 win over the Padres today in San Diego. Michael King, starter for the Padres today, joins an extensive list including guys like Hunter Brown, Nathan Eovaldi, Jacob deGrom, Tarek Skubal, Garrett Crochet, Max Fried. Probably missing a few guys here as pitchers who have started in losses against the Mariners this season. The Mariners have handled some of the best starting pitchers in the game really well this year, or at least they've been able to manage their way around them in order to get wins in those games that those names that I just mentioned started. It's been a big reason for the success so far this year. It's a big reason they were able to get this sweep today as they hang 4 on King, which I believe is a season high for him this year. And so we'll see if the Mariners can keep it going. They're facing the White Sox starting tomorrow. We'll talk to you on the Locked On Mariners podcast before the game. See you then. Peace.
Fernando Tatis Jr. led off the home first inning with a home run for the Padres. Their only run of the game. Bryan Woo now 5-1 on the season, 2.65 ERA. You might want to start thinking about Bryan Woo as an AL All-Star. Too early to think that?
No, it's never too early, especially when it comes to pitching. And this is what Mariners pitching is supposed to do, especially those young guys like Bryan Woo. I know they're down George Kirby and Logan Gilbert right now, but Bryan Woo certainly has stepped up this season, a 5-1 record on the year. Again, 7 innings pitched, 1 earned run. Just a great outing from him. And so between the fact that Mariners have always had good pitching, now their offense has come around this season so far, they're a threat, not just to the AL West, but to all of Major League Baseball.
Royals able to avoid being swept at home by the Cardinals in the I-70 Missouri series. Royals win the finale 2-1. JD, Locked On Cardinals, and one of our partners with MLB Game Night, one of our other hosts on the Cards offense going almost radio silent on Sunday.
Sometimes it's just not your day, and Sunday was not the Cardinals' day offensively. Hey, it's JD from Locked On Cardinals, and the Redbirds pounded out 11 hits on Sunday and somehow scored just 1 run as they lose the series finale to the Royals 2-1. 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position. They leave 13 guys on base. Multiple times they would hit the ball hard with runners on, and it would go right at a Kansas City Royals player. Just tough luck. Lone run would come from Alec Burleson, who hits a solo shot in the 4th, his 4th home run of the season. Matthew Liberatore got the start. He was awesome. 6 innings, 1 run, 5 Ks. Chris Roycroft takes the tough loss after allowing a leadoff triple, which was misplayed by Newton right field. It was one of those Kauffman Stadium triples. And then a single brings the eventual game winner in. 2 pitches. Royals take the lead, eventually win. The Cardinals win this series, though, which is more important. They go 7-2 on the road, so they have absolutely nothing to hang their heads about. For the latest updates and info, be sure to keep it Locked On Cardinals.
Now, John, JD says they're a Kauffman Stadium triple. Immediately, he painted the picture perfectly because I'm going back to the 70s, 80s, turf field, Willie Wilson racing around the bases. They always seem to lead the league in triples. So grass field now, a little bit different confines at Kauffman Stadium. But JD, tip of the cap for painting a great picture there in my mind.
Yeah, are the Royals sure they want to move stadiums? I know they got a new one planned, but I mean, if you're going to lead the league in triples the way that they seem to do year over year, I mean, I don't know if you want to take that away from them.
Lucas Ursig out of the bullpen, ending in 2/3, scoreless, picked up the win, his first on the season. Brendan Donovan did have a 4-hit day, including a double for St. Louis. Moving on, Nationals, Orioles. I told Lindsay on Friday, whoever won the series opener, I was going to root for the rest of the weekend because I thought there'd be a sweep in play, and that's what happened as the Nationals take all 3 against the Orioles at Camden Yards. Ryan Clary has a tip of the cap to C.J. Abrams, who is now not longer a budding star, but he is a star in the big leagues.
And that was a dud of a series for you. The Nationals swept the Orioles up in Baltimore, took the 3 games, and dominated during this stand against the Orioles. I'm Ryan Clary from Locked On Nationals. The Nationals swept the Orioles again, winning today 10-4. But how about C.J. Abrams? 2 home runs today. He also had a double later on in the game. The first pitch of this game, C.J. Abrams leadoff home run. He now moves to second all-time for leadoff home runs, I believe, right behind Alfonso Soriano. And guys, let's be honest. C.J. Abrams, he is the best hitter on this Nationals team, and he's now starting to work his way into contention for an early MVP favorite. Can he hold on to that? We'll just have to see.
On the other side, Orioles swept in the series. They've lost 6 in a row and just 2 wins in their last 14. New interim manager doesn't seem to be helping out right now. Zach Eflin gave up 4 home runs in his outing, including, as Ryan said, the leadoff home run to open up the game for C.J. Abrams. He gave up 8 earned runs on 10 hits. He did go 5 1/3 innings, and I think that probably speaks to the Orioles' bullpen or lack of bullpen arms right now as well.
Yeah, it's seriously weird to watch Brandon Hyde lose his job after he, has seen this rebrand and regrowth of the Orioles through. They were bad when he started, and then he gets to see the rewards of this young core. But to make him the scapegoat when you didn't sign any starting pitching of note over the offseason, a perfect example of a scapegoat in my mind.
Yeah. Cal Quantrill, now 3-4 on the season. He picked up the victory for the Marlins in their 5-1 win against the Rays on Sunday. He also had an immaculate inning, struck out all 3 batters on 9 total pitches in the 4th inning. And Quantrill, 5 innings of 1-run baseball. I mentioned his record now 3-4. Otto Lopez, 3-run home run in the 4th. William Hicks, a 2-run home run in the 6th inning. Both homers off Shane Baz, who took the loss. He's now 3-3 for the Rays with an ERA well over 5. John, closes out as the D-backs take care of business. How about this series? 26 runs on Saturday, 1 run total on Sunday.
Yeah, and they take 2 or 3 out at home for the Diamondbacks from the Rockies, their second shutout of the series. Merrill Kelly, a season high 11 strikeouts, 1 hit allowed over 7 scoreless. The only hit that he surrendered was to Jordan Beck. That was a double. Ketel Marte hit a run in the first, the only run of the game, but that's all it took. Shelby Miller, of course, does a little Houdini act, gets out of the bases loaded jam in the 9th. It was 1 out, bases loaded. Rockies have still not won a series through mid-May. They are now 8-38.
And next weekend, we celebrate Memorial Day. It's here. The first quarter pole of the season.
Right. Exactly. I got to say, I don't consider the Angels and Dodgers a big rivalry because they're different divisions, different tiers of teams. But I got to say, this rivalry weekend, I think, was a success. And I think the marketing that MLB put behind it was real fun this weekend.
Well said. That is a wrap for us with our latest edition of MLB Game Night. Be sure to tell your friends all about us. Subscribe to the Locked On MLB YouTube channel. Subscribe and give us a 5 of 5 review on the audio podcast as well. MLB Game Night, part of the Locked On Sports Network, available wherever you get your podcasts. MLB Game Night, every game, every night.